Hello, hello, hello. Let me see what's going on here. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. I don't know where I'm getting that noise, but I'll figure it out. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody's had a great weekend and have a good week in store. Let me just try to make sure that I'm coming through okay. If anybody is live and cannot hear me or see me, please leave a comment and let me know. And I will try to solve that, but I think I'm good. And nice. I appreciate that. Let me and if you have questions or so hi everybody, Mike Murphy here. In case we have not met, I'm assuming we have if you're here on the live stream. And thank you for joining me if you're coming live. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for stopping by and checking things out. I try to do this every Monday. I'm in a little bit of a different schedule lately, so I'm really trying to juggle a few things, and the live stream is sort of getting a little tricky with timing, but I'm going to do my best to get on when I can. And but I am always available. If you have questions, you can always reach me through a comment or hop on my website and reach out. And yeah. And if you have questions that you're, something that you're working on, something that you're trying to figure out, something you're stuck on, whether it's a tutorial that you watched or, you weren't sure about something, by all means, let me know. Tonight is, the reason I do these is really to be available for you. It's kind of an office hours for the community and people who are content creators trying to, make it do their own business, do it as a hobby. And Monday nights are my nights to basically try to be available to answer any questions, to teach something. I try to have some type of content on Mondays to teach or to just kind of do a walkthrough. But really the main goal of tonight is to just be available in case you have questions, if you just want to hang out, if you just want to, anything, comments, get to know other people. That's why I'm here tonight. So again, thank you all who do make it live, and if you don't make it live and watch the replay, I do appreciate it. Fileman, I don't know what your full name is, but thank you so much for it makes my day when I hear people tell me that a video or a tutorial helped them. That is why I do it. So it really does. I love hearing when somebody says something I did helped them get unstuck or help them figure something out they were banging their head against. So I love hearing that. And I also love hearing, the purpose of my channel is I teach things often that I'm either working on myself or something that I came across while I was doing something that I thought, I found it helpful. So I will typically try to make a tutorial on some technique in, After Effects, Photoshop, Adobe Audition, ScreenFlow, all the tools that I use on my daily, day-to-day basis for creating content. If there's something I'm doing or something that I discovered or something that I found helpful while I was creating something or helping somebody else, those are what I make tutorials about. So the more I hear from you about what it is that you either are stuck with or what it is that you're interested in or what you're hoping to learn or to get better at, the more I hear from you, that makes my day, and it makes it, I love getting the questions because that just really tells me what people need, and I make tutorials for that. So, yeah, I love hearing from you. Whether it's just a comment, a question, by all means, reach out. So, yeah, and if there's something that that's going on in the world, in the world of content creation that you're like, I really wish you would cover more of that, or I'd be interested to hear your take on that. Send it my way. So, I've been starting these with basically, let me just bring this up so you can see that. So this is my website, and if you've seen this before, I apologize. It's not really for me to, necessarily promote my website. But what I do like to just sort of let people know is that, because I do get questions about this all the time, is what I'm using, what tools I use, what products I use, what do I like. So I have on my main website a resources page. This is my home page here. There's my big face right there. So this is my home page, and then if you look up here at the top, I've got posts. You can find all my podcast episodes and a bunch of tutorials. But if you see here, there is, over here, there's a contact form. So if you, have a question or you want to reach out, if you have something on your mind or something if you have a collaboration idea or something, by all means, reach out. And there's a form right here. But up here in the top menu, you will see a resources page. And I try to keep this up to date as best as possible. But these are the tools that I use to basically run my business, to create content, things that I like, tools and services, software that I use. I really only put things on here that I use and like and recommend. I know everybody says that, but I really do mean it, as I think a lot of people do as well. But yeah, these are a lot of the tools that I use. There's probably some that needs to be a little updated, or some that I've added or taken away. But for the most part, it's pretty up to date. And I've got a lot of the gear that I use on my desk. And this is, actually, that's not going to really work right now. But yeah, so that's my desk there. Let me go back to the web page there. So podcasting gear, the microphones, the mixer, cords, cables that I use, photo and video, lighting, all the tech, the stuff that's on my desk, cables. I find this super helpful for when other people share what cables they use, because there's 10 million of them out there on Amazon, and I do my best to find the highest quality cables at not the crazy most expensive cables. I will spend good money on cables. I will say that cables do matter, but I try not to go crazy. Like, there's enough good cables out there that are not going to break the bank. But I do my best to find the best cables, and if something is acting weird in my equipment, I usually change the cables. At the bottom are books that I recommend or that I like. This will be an ever-growing list. You'll notice here that the thumbnails don't really match the list. There's usually more on the list. So if you're looking for some books or some ideas, go over here on this right side here, and you will see books. I have a couple more to add. I just read, what did I read this week that I liked? I read something, I can't remember, but I liked it. I'll put that on there. And then at the very bottom and at the very top, there is a link to my Amazon store. And basically most everything that you see here on the page that is a product, you can find at the Amazon store. You'll see at the very top. I have an influencer Amazon shop. And that is yeah, this is good for if you just want to kind of browse and see. I've got a bunch of books there, and it's fairly up to date, I think. And these are just a lot of the products I use, so you can just kind of browse through and see how much they are on Amazon. And these are affiliate links, but you don't have to use my affiliate links if you don't want to. You just can get some ideas of what I use, and I mean, I love when people use the affiliate links. That's supports the channel for sure, but that's not necessarily why I put these here. I really just think it's useful. I know I look at other people's stuff all the time, and I'm always excited for somebody that shares a good, tip or a product that they like and use. So yeah, so that's at mikemurphy.co and then /resources. Okay. Any questions? Anybody have anything they want me to cover, or anything that they're anything on your mind? Anything that you not sure about? No. Okay. Oops. Swayze Studios. Oh, I recognize that logo. Filling out the form now. Good. Hopefully it makes it. I tend to get a lot of spam for some reason through my website contact form, or it tends to go to spam, but I do check it on a regular basis, so hopefully it makes it through there. Not entirely sure why it blocks certain things, but hopefully it gets it. And hopefully you sorted things out with your podcast. But if you did not, I can definitely help you kind of navigate that. And what was the thing I was going to show you? I might have already done it. Yeah, if there's something you're stuck on, if there's questions you have, that the whole podcast back end, dealing with the RSS feeds, if stuff like that, that's sort of my comfort zone when it comes to just tech stuff. So if there's anything that you're not sure about, why things aren't updating or why things aren't working, or whatever the case may be with your podcast, by all means, let me know. That's sort of my fun zone, and I've got quite a bit of experience on the back end of that stuff, so happy to help if I can. And so tonight I was going to jump into Adobe After Effects. And let me just see if that works. It looks like it's working. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And what I thought I would do tonight is a little bit, not random, I wouldn't say, but let me try to make that so you can see it. So this is, I got asked this question last week, so I thought I would do it tonight, which is typically how everything I do gets started. But this is how to align, or how to take a shape or an object and align it to a path. How to animate it to a path. Excuse me. Seems like every time I get on a live stream, I get like hoarse throat. Yeah, so this is how to basically how to animate a shape or an object to a path. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I will make it a little bit clearer. So let me just move here. So you can see here, hopefully you can see that, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, but you can see that blue line. That is a path drawn with the pen tool. And as you can see here, I've got this logo that is following the path. And you'll also see the logo is turning. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me show you. So you can see as it goes down, it's orienting to the path. And let me just show you the difference. I don't know if it's going to do it now. So you see here, it's kind of all going the same way. And if I go here, now the ball or the logo is kind of turning with the path. So it is following this path. And obviously when you click away, the path disappears. So it kind of just looks like, you know, this logo is following a path. And so you can basically create a path in any shape that you want and align or, you know, attach objects to that path so it follows the path shape and it animates along that path. So I thought that I would cover that today. And let me just see if there's anybody that has questions or is anybody interested in Adobe After Effects? Is anyone, I would love to know basically before I started where people were at in their After Effects learning. Is it a tool that you are, learning? Is it a tool that you've been using for a while? Are you trying to figure it out? You have no interest in Adobe After Effects? It feels like a lot of people in this world, in the online world, are trying to learn Adobe After Effects. I think it's an amazing tool. I still have a long way to go myself. I'm not, you know, super guru at it, but I do know I have been using it for a while, and I think it's an incredible tool. But I would love to know, you know, what people are, where they're at in their Adobe After Effects journey. Are you, is it something that you really want to learn? Is it something that that confuses you? Is it something that you just don't have time to learn? Or are you actively learning and progressing? I would just love to know. You don't have to leave it right now, but anyways. So yeah, so this is, we're going to recreate this basically. And we're going to just, the path does not matter what we, you know, what we create here. Let me just start it from scratch here. So I'm going to just make this background, I'll just call it BG. I'll move this background into a new layer. But let's just recreate this from scratch, okay? I'm going to delete this. So we have no proof. Okay, so we just have a background. This background layer, and if you want to know the composition size is, let me see if I can zoom in here. So the composition is 1920 by 1080 pixels. It is 10 seconds in duration. That really doesn't matter. And then the background color also does not matter. If you are new to Adobe Audition or to Adobe After Effects, the background color of your composition is just for your own design, like to make it easy for you to see elements on the background. So the background color when you're creating a new composition is not going to be in your final render. It's going to just come out as transparent. So even though you can see a color, you can choose a color, you can make any color you want. That really is just to help you so you have a background element or color, you know, versus a transparent grid. But the background color, if you really want a color, you typically would add something like a solid layer in a solid will render, but the background color of your composition is really just for your own enjoyment, or just so you can make it easier to see. If I can prove to you that this, actually I'll turn off this background layer. So you saw here that I have this kind of off-white background layer. However, if I click on this little button right here, there's a little transparency grid down on the bottom. It might be just a little bit hard for you to see. There it is right there. So this transparency grid where my cursor is, if I click that, if you click on that button and you see this, you know, checkerboard, that means that you really don't have a background. Again, this composition settings, the background color, it does not really exist and you can tell if you have a background by clicking on the transparency grid icon, and if you see the grid, that means that you really don't have a background. But we do have a background because I have this layer right here serving as the background. Hopefully that makes sense. And let me see what this question that I just got here. Elizabeth, thank you for writing in. I love After Effects. My biggest struggle is creating scenes as layers in Blender and importing them into After Effects to add effects to each layer scene without having these huge MOV files. Yeah, I wish I was able to give you good. I would have to do a little bit of homework on that myself personally. I haven't really dove into Blender. I'm familiar with it, and I've played around with it just a little bit because I see so much of it. But I can't say that I really have a workflow that will help you with that. My guess is that you're probably better off doing some sort of render, like using some type of different file extension, whether that's going through media encoder. I don't know how. I honestly don't really have a. I'd be just brainstorming, kind of guessing. But if you're able to convert them to a different file and it was importing into After Effects, like if it was just a matter of that particular file type was giving you trouble, if you're saying all file types were. Another thing that you might want to do is try, pre-composing the layers that you bring in. Again, this may not make sense because I don't really have a Blender workflow. I just never use it as of now, but I can definitely kind of just poke around and see what if I'm able to find anything. Again, not help at all. I realize that, Elizabeth, so I apologize for that. So creating scenes as layers. Yeah, I can't really give you a lot of good advice because I just literally haven't dove into that world yet. I just started poking around in Spline. I don't know if you're familiar with Spline.design. It could be totally different, but it's a 3D rendering through the browser. It's super light and easy. Blender and 3D just seem to be something that I haven't had a need to do it yet. And it seems it's a workflow that I'm not ready to jump into yet. So anyways, so I have this composition, and what I'm going to do is grab the pen tool, and we're going to just draw a path, an imaginary path. So I'm going to come up here. I want to be able to, let me just make sure. I'm going to expand this a little bit. I don't know if that's going to help. But thanks for the question, even though I didn't help you at all. Sorry, Elizabeth. Okay, so up here is the pen tool, the keyboard shortcut for the pen tool. If I click and hold it, you'll see here the keyboard shortcut is G, which I never use, quite honestly, but I'm going to zoom back out so you can see what's going on here. And when you're using the pen tool, well, it's going to not really matter in this department, but when you have something selected, it's typically you're going to be drawing a mask when you use the pen tool. If you deselect, it's going to draw a shape. In this case, we're just going to have nothing selected. I'm going to come up here, and I'm also going to, we don't need a fill or a stroke color. So to do that, you just click on the fill. Just click on the little do not, or the don't need, and then I click on stroke, and also click on that. So we don't need a fill or a stroke color. I am just going to simply draw out a random path, and this does not have to be anything special. I'm just going to click. I'm going to click. I'm just going to drag. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit away from the edge so I don't hit the edge. So I'm just going to click. I'll go up. I'm just going to make a little turn. And go down. Make a turn. Go up. Make a turn. This is not anything. This really does not matter. I mean, it would matter if you really wanted a specific thing, but for this tutorial, I'm just literally doing this to just demonstrate it. If you want to change the path, when you see the little points here, all you have to do while you have the pen tool, oops, I can just click on these and move these around. I don't know why. Let me click off here. I'm going to click off. I'll go back to that shape tool. Let's see. I'll show you how to do it if you just click off. I'm going to go into the shape there, and if I click on path, now I can simply move this around. You'll see here you've got the Bezier handle, so if you want to just, you know, change the curve, you can kind of modify these after you draw the path, so you can get the, you know, the kind of the curves and the angles and the heights and all the things that you're doing if you did a bad job drawing like I just did. But there's really no bad job for here because this is just made up. The point of this tutorial is not to have a pretty line, but to show you how to align the object to the path, which we're going to do here. And I'm just coming off here so it goes off. So we've got this roller coaster thing here, and we are going to align a logo to this, okay? Let me see what you, let me just make sure that I saw a new comment here from you. If to render each layer as an image, so PNG, etc., and use an X multi-layer, excuse me for, yeah, the way you're talking about each layer is a PNG, are we talking about a PNG sequence where you have a whole bunch of PNGs? Because when you import that, if you just import it in as a PNG sequence, is that what you're doing? Versus having all individual PNGs? I can, without just totally making uneducated guesses, I can poke around and see if I can see if anything comes up. Maybe I'll make a tutorial on that if I find some good workflow. But I am going to I have my logo here that I dragged out, I think. Let me see if I, maybe not. There it is. Okay, so I've got this circle logo here. I'm going to press S for the scale, and I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. Okay. Now you notice nothing, there's nothing going on here. This logo, it's not attached to anything, right? We're just static. And if I press the shape layer, you see here the shape layer is there, but there's no, or the path is there, but there's nothing going on. So what I'm going to do is, let me just make sure that you can see. I want to just, I'm trying to balance this through the live stream so you can really see what's going on and don't have to squint. So I'm going to come over here to, so the shape layer is the path. Okay. I've got the contents twirled open. That's going to reveal the shape here. So if we got, you see here, we've got the contents. If I twirl open the shape, the path is what you're looking for. Okay, so when you have this path selected, you typically want to click off and click on path. And what you're going to do is copy the path, okay? So let me just see if that does without having to select it. I'm going to press Command C to copy. Then I'm going to come to the object that I want to align to that path. I want it to animate and attach to that path. I'm going to tap on P to bring up the position property of the logo. So this is the logo layer right here, okay? And I have the position property open. So I've copied the path. I'm going to select the position property. I'm going to press Command V to paste. So I copied the path and I'm going to paste the path onto the position property. So Command V, and nothing happened. When nothing happens, select the path again and click on the path itself. Now hit Command C to copy. Go back to the position, make sure you have the position selected, Command V, and now you see it pasted. So I kind of did that on purpose to show you if there's going to be times where you're kind of, what's going on here? Why isn't this working? And you may also, sometimes you might paste it down to the wrong property where that property, like the scale property, for example, you get an error message. So you want to make sure you're on the position property. And now if you see here, just by pasting it, After Effects automatically added all these keyframes. And if you haven't updated your Adobe After Effects, you'll notice that let me zoom way in here. You'll notice that After Effects updated the keyframes, and they've got these fancy little indicators around here, letting you know that you've selected them. They're pretty cool. If I click off, you'll see here. Now if I select on the property, these are new. And there's also, this is not part of the tutorial, but there is also, you can color code your keyframes now. So that's kind of cool. You can label them just like you can like a layer. So these are circular keyframes, which means they're roving keyframes, but we're not really going to go into that too deep, but they're a little bit different. And yeah, so really the important thing though is that After Effects automatically created these keyframes as soon as I pasted the path onto the position property. So that's kind of cool. And with them selected, well, let's just see what they do. So if I drag the playhead, look at the logo. I really didn't do anything. You know, you could have spent hours, not hours, you could have spent many minutes keyframing this, you know, to get that exact shape. But now, just like that, we've got a little animation. I'll hit the end here, so it'll just go back and forth. We did very little. I just copied the path and pasted it onto the property. Now the logo is following that path, which obviously looks pretty crazy right there. It's kind of going fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the keyframes. A little shortcut here. This is a cool little trick and something that is great to know. You know, you could drag a selection over the keyframes to select it. That's one way of doing it. But a real fast way to select all of the keyframes for a layer is just simply click on the property. And when you click on the property, like I'm clicking on position, you'll see all the keyframes for that layer have been selected. I'll do it one more time just so you see. I just click on position and everything gets selected. And to slow down the animation, because we saw that was going pretty fast, I'm going to press the Option key, Alt if you're on Windows, and I'm going to click on the last keyframe, and I'm just going to pull this out. And by pressing the Option key or Alt, what I'm doing is I'm basically I'm extending the keyframes, but I'm keeping the proportion exactly the same. So I'm not changing the actual distance between the keyframes. I'm just extending them so I can slow down the animation. And now when I go back, hit the space bar, you'll see it slows down. If I want to go even further or slow it down, I have the Option key pressed. I could drag it out, drag my playhead back to the beginning. Oop. Obviously, the shape is not perfect, and it's kind of, acting a little weird. Oops. It's looping, but yeah, that's a very, very easy way to orient something to a path, which I think is just something that comes up. You could do just something kind of cool. I mean, you can really draw, it doesn't have to be a crazy path like this. It could just be a simple line going across, but you can pretty much animate anything to it doing this same simple method. Yeah, and there's no, there's really nothing that you need to do for, animating it. It does it automatically when you do it. Now, as I'm dragging this through, well, let me show you one thing. If I was to right click or control click on a keyframe, come down to the bottom, keyframe assistant, and go to keyframe time reverse keyframes, hit the space bar. It's going off the thing. Oops. You can't see it, can you? It's basically reversed the direction, so it went the other direction. This is kind of a crazy animation. I apologize. But it's reversed the direction. I'm going to undo that because I still want to do one more thing. But yeah, so you can reverse the direction by time reversing. And now the thing that I want to show you is auto orienting. Hopefully this is not distracting. Again, I'm trying to be able to zoom in on the timeline and show you the thing. But the other thing I want to show you is auto orientation. And I'm going to do this by, I'm going to drag in another logo because it's going to demonstrate it a little bit better. So I'm going to zoom out. And it also just gives me the ability to give you another tip. So I want to replace this logo with another logo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the layer. So I've got the layer selected. You can see the logo is highlighted. I'm going to come up here into my project bin where I have another logo. I'm going to press the Option key. I'm on a Mac. So if you're on a PC, you're going to press the Alt key. So with the Option key pressed, I'm just going to click and drag it right onto that logo, and it is going to replace that logo with a new layer, and it's going to take all the same properties, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. And now when I drag the playhead, you'll see this new logo without doing anything else. I just replaced it. Kept all the keyframes. Pretty cool. But notice how it is just kind of going up and down and up and down and up. It's not really following the shape. It's not really following the path of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap on U to bring up the keyframes. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. Let me come down here. Oops. I'll move it up. I'm going to select the keyframes. Remember, we're just going to click on position to select all the keyframes. I'm going to move over here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to right click or control click on any keyframe. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to show you something else. Well, we're not going to do it from keyframe. We got to do it over on the layer. My bad. But I'm going to do it actually up to the top menu. I'm going to show you two different ways where this is located. It's not on the keyframes. You're going to go up to the top menu. Whoop. And if you ever get confused, you can do, I'll show you here. This help menu, this is one tip, is a great source. So whenever you're looking for something, I always go to the help menu. But what we're going to do is go to layer, and you're looking for transform. You're going to come all the way down to the bottom and see auto orient. Okay. There's also a keyboard shortcut. It's Option Command 0 or Alt Control 0 if you are on Windows. Okay, so that's a good keyboard shortcut to learn. I believe it's O, not 0. Excuse me. Option Command O, not 0. And you can also get to that exact same thing if we come down here into the layers panel. So let me move around up here. If I was to right click on the layer, so I have the logo layer selected. If I right click on that, you'll see the transform menu item. It's the same thing that we saw up in the layer panel. And if you look down at the very bottom, there's auto orient. Okay, and there's that keyboard shortcut. So when I click on this, I'm going to get this menu right here. This menu is the auto orientation. It's currently set to off. Okay, let me just pull this up a little bit. So let's just make sure that we're all on the same page here. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. I want you to see it. So when I drag the playhead, I want you to watch the logo. Okay, so I'm going to drag. You see it goes up, goes down. It's just staying vertical. It's staying the shape of the logo. But I'm going to right click. I'm going to select the layer of the logo. I'm going to right click, go to transform, auto orient. I'm going to orient along path. So I'm going to click the second option. Sorry, I'm doing this from the monitor so I can't see. And then I'm going to click OK. And look what happened to the logo. It just twisted automatically. Do you see that? So now when I drag the playhead, watch what happens when it goes around the curves. How cool is that? It is auto-orienting to the curve of the path. That is pretty cool. If I come over here, tap N, N's another keyboard shortcut for the end of work area. I'll press the space bar to preview. I'll hover my cursor over and tap the tilde key to go full screen. And now we've got this crazy roller coaster logo that you would probably never do like this. But the purpose of this tutorial is not really to show you that this is a great animation. It's just to give you an idea of, oh, I can actually orient objects along a path. And the path, remember, can be anything you want. There's no rules to the path. You can have it shape any way you want. Yeah, Elizabeth, the colored keyframes are awesome. Super into that. That's only about it's only a couple weeks old, like at the most. I think like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so that is and if you're wondering how I go full screen, it's the tilde key. You just hover your cursor over any panel, tap on the tilde key, and it will go full screen to that panel. Uh-oh. I lost my screen. There we go. Any questions about this auto orientation? Again, the animation itself is not the purpose of the I obviously know that that's kind of a wacky looking thing, but it is kind of a fun little thing to have in your toolbox for animation. And if we let's go ahead, I'm going to delete that logo, or I'm going to delete the path. Let's just you see here, even if I deleted the path, because I copied and pasted it, it's still there. So I could still mess around with this. That's going to actually make it really wacky. But if I was to delete that, so we have nothing again, and go up and grab my pen tool. You know, so you could just have kind of a pretty subtle, let's go here. You know, you could have a pretty subtle path. Nothing crazy. If you're not good at the pen tool, that's okay. Lots of people aren't. I wouldn't say that I'm the master at it. But yeah, so that's a pretty, you know, gentle path, right? And if I take a logo, drag it on, I'll tap S to scale it down. Remember, we have nothing going on here. No animation. I'm going to open up the shape layer, twirl that open. I'm going to twirl open contents. I'll twirl open shape, twirl open path. I'm going to click on path. I'm going to make sure that I have that second path, that path with the keyframes with the stopwatch selected. So now the path is selected. I'm going to press Command C to copy. I'm going to go to the tutorial or the logo. I'm going to tap P to bring up the position property. I'm going to select the position property. I'm going to tap on V. You're going to see that logo disappeared because it's over here. And if you look on the timeline, I've got these keyframes that After Effects automatically generated. And if I drag, now it's following the path. Pretty cool. It's going to go super fast, but just like that. Just like the Easter Bunny. And again, if you want to, let's see if it's going to really make a difference. It's probably not going to be much, but if you wanted to orient it, auto-orient it, we'll right-click or control-click, go to Transform, choose Transform, Auto-Orient, or use that keyboard shortcut, Shift-Command-0. It'll bring up this Auto-Orientation dialog box. You click on Orient Along Path, click OK, you see it twists, and now when I drag it, it's going to follow the shape. So the logo, you know, you think of like a car that was driving, you want it to follow the path. Hit the space bar. Pretty cool. So that is how you animate objects along a path and use auto orient so the object will take the shape of the path. I hope you learned something from that, and is there anything else related to this? You know, I'm going to give you one more tip. It's very unexciting, but I'm going to show you how to make a road. This was something that I had to do at some point, and I remember being excited about it. So since we're talking about this, the road is like a thing that I think of when you think of this auto orientation. But a really easy way to make a road is to use the pen tool. And then come up here. Again, this just popped in my head because when I do the last time I did auto orienting, it was I needed to do a car on a road. So we're going to select the pen tool. I am going to, let me just zoom in here so you can see. I'm going to click, make sure that fill is no fill, so we don't need fill. But stroke, I'm going to make this like a dark road color. Okay. Click OK. I'm going to crank this up to like, let's try like 400 and see what that gives us. I'm just going to click. I think I might have just created a shape. So I'm just going to click. I'm going to click off the edge and then hold the shift key so I have a straight line. I'm just going to click to the other end, and now I have the makings of a road. Okay. This yellow part we can just ignore. But now we just have a road. It's really just a stroke. And I'm going to come down here. You can't see it. So let me come down here to the layers panel. I am going to twirl open shape. I'm going to twirl open the contents. So the shape, I'm going to hit enter or return. I'm going to call this road. Oops, not with an E. Road. I'm going to duplicate this. Okay. So if I just unhide this, you can see it hides. Let me move this down here. So if I hide the visibility of this, you can see that's the road. Okay. I'm going to duplicate the road. Command D to duplicate. I'm going to hit enter or return. I'm just going to name this stripes. Okay. So we have two layers. We have the two roads. For the stripes, I'm going to come up here. Let me come to the top. I'm going to come up here and change the fill, or the stroke, to white. Since we want a white road, right? Now we can see it. But I'm going to change it from 400 pixels. Let's see what, let's see like what 25 does. That's not bad. Let's go 20. How about 15? Is 15 too small? Yeah, I like 15. Okay, so now we have a road. Pretty easy, but we're not done yet. We could be, but we're going to come down here. We're going to twirl open the stripes. Remember, stripes is the white part in the middle. We're going to twirl open stroke. We're going to come down here to dashes. So this is dashes right here. There's a little plus icon. Hopefully you can see it. Let me just make sure that we're, whoops. Let me make sure we're zoomed way in here. I don't want to lose the road. So you see dashes, right? There's a little plus sign. You're going to click that twice. So once will bring up dashes. Click it again. It brings up gap. I think let me undo that. I got a little overzealous with my clicking. So once is the dash. Once again is the gap. Okay? And you see here, it's already creating the gap. So all you're going to do really is just turn the gap or the dash to just something you like. That looks good. And I'll just move the gap to add a little space. I don't know. What, we like that? And now you have yourself a road. Again, kind of off topic a little bit, but a little P. F9. Oh, yikes. And that is how to make a road. So hopefully you learned something tonight. Any questions, anything that you have in mind, or anything that you are having questions throughout the week, or anytime something comes up, if you have a tutorial request or something that you're struggling with and you're saying, I cannot figure this out, can you please help? Just reach out at any time. This will get super distracting after a while, but yeah, so hopefully, again, if you watched tonight and you joined in, thank you so much for joining. And if you are watching the replay, I do appreciate you stopping by. And again, you can still leave comments in the replay. I try to answer every single comment that I get on my YouTube channel or through my website. Sometimes things don't always make it to me. So if you don't hear from me, the chances are is I just did not see it. But if I do see it, which I do check every day, I reply. So I hope everybody has a fantastic week, and we get a lot done this week. And yeah, hopefully everybody's safe, happy, and oops, I just got something going through. So yeah, so everybody have a great week, and I will see you possibly next week, maybe the next week after. We'll see. But thanks everybody for coming by, and I am headed out for the evening. Cheers.